Does MOTS-c give you energy? Yeah, maybe you're not tired because you didn't sleep enough last night. Maybe there's another reason. Maybe the real problem is deeper than that. Maybe your cells have been quietly losing the ability to produce energy. No amount of sleep, you're loading up the vitamin B12, you're drinking your coffee, but nothing seems to help because you've got a mitochondrial problem. So here's what we'll do in this video. We're going to break down exactly what gives you energy and what that means. Not the hyped up energy, but energy that allows you to stay vital, to stay on purpose, to stay in your game. And I'll show you exactly what pathways, there's 3 primary pathways that MOTS-c is working on, or it may be one of the most important aspects of cellular expression in the human body. So does MOTS-c give you energy? Yes, enormous amounts of energy, but it's not a stimulant. It doesn't give you energy in the way caffeine does, where you get a spike and a drop. But what it does is it repairs your energy production system, which is potentially far more powerful than anything else that you can find in a pre-workout. So let's talk about this, because in looking at thousands of labs, and one of the most common complaints that we've received as a medical team at Ageless Future is, I'm tired all the time. And that is a direct reflection of your quality of life. If your quality of energy is proportional to your quality of life. And so it's your mitochondria that make the energy. And so in order to find out where your energy deficits are, start by getting your blood labs ran. Go to agelessfuture.com and work with my medical team. They're world class. They'll help you figure out where the gaps are. So where does the mitochondrial energy production theory come from? Well, it was first proposed by Dr. Denham Herman in the 70s. And what he looked at is that the mitochondrial dysfunction is the central driver of the aging process. So here's the idea. Mitochondria produce energy through the electron transport chain, a process that generates also reactive oxygen species as a byproduct. So there's some, you got waste with it. And so these reactive oxygen species can damage your DNA. And the DNA has limited repair capabilities. And so as mitochondrial DNA accumulates the damage, your mitochondria become less efficient energy producers. So more and more of your cellular resources are consumed to produce the same amount of ATP. And this is very inefficient when it comes to energy production. Your metabolism is essentially declining for various reasons. It happens in people younger and younger. One of the most devastating mitochondrial diseases is called Barth syndrome. And last September of 2025, the peptide SS31 was approved to treat Barth syndrome, this debilitating mitochondrial imbalance that happens mostly to boys, and you're born that way. And so if you think of this metabolic flexibility, if you need to produce energy but you've got this degraded hardware, you're going to produce less APT per unit of substrate. So your metabolic flexibility, your ability to switch between burning fats and then burning carbohydrates, that also declines. So your cells become metabolically inflexible. They're stuck in less energy efficient pathways. Fatigue that follows isn't just tiredness. It's a systemic cellular energy deficit. You push on the gas, no matter how much your brain wants you to go, you're not going to be there. Your muscles feel heavier. You try to work out, but you just never quite reach that state. And your cognition feels foggy because your neurons are running below their energetic capacity. Your mood suffers because neurotransmitter synthesis is in an energy-intensive process, but you don't have the mitochondrial energy in your brain. And so if you've ever noticed that your fatigue is different in your 40s, 50s, 60s than it was maybe in your 20s or 30s, this is a mitochondrial issue. If you notice that the sleep, you get a great night's sleep, but you still don't have that energy that you used to, you feel like you're at 70 to 80%, well, this is a mitochondrial imbalance, and it's mitochondrial aging, and it's one of the most critical things that we can focus on as we age, so that we age in reverse, is fixing this mitochondrial pathway. And so MOTS-c is not just interesting, but it's potentially transformational because it's a mitochondrial-derived peptide, and it targets the very metabolic pathways that age-related mitochondrial dysfunction impairs. So let's get specific about this mechanism, because if you think of MOTS-c, Its primary action is activating AMPK, and this AMPK, it's a protein kinase in your skeletal muscle, and it's often described as your master energy sensor. So this is a secondary energy system because when your AMP to ATP ratio raises, indicating depleted energy stores, then AMPK activates the shift towards cellular program and energy production. And that's really important because when you're running low on fuel, your metabolism is saying, let's start burning more efficiently, and that's what AMPK activation does. It primarily does that through GLUT4 expression. So GLUT4 is the transporter in your muscle that gets glucose into the cell without the presence of insulin. Insulin can be pretty devastating if it's circulating a lot. That's why we run your fasting insulin levels in your lab, because it enhances glycolysis, the breakdown of glucose into ATP. It also upregulates amino acid metabolism, or how well your body uses protein-derived fuel sources. And critically, it promotes the switch from fatty acid oxidation. So when glucose is scarce, that means you're going to be burning fat. So if you want to hold on to it, then don't fix this pathway. But when MOTS-c activates the pathway, you're getting this not just a transient energy boost, you're actually improving the entire cellular production system. So it's like instead of trying to, duct tape something together, let's fix the entire thing. So here's some of the things that have been shown in the research. Mouse studies, they showed that MOTS-c treatment improved physical performance, so enhanced treadmill running capacity, improved performance on the mouse tests. In fact, what they found is that the mice were not just lighter so they ran better, they found that the energy system itself was far more efficient. MOTS-c also enhanced cell proliferation. So the treated mice, it showed approximately a 6-fold increase in proliferation rates. And so when your cells are metabolically active, the energetic levels just go through the roof. And that's the big goal, because remember, your quality of life is proportional to the quality of your energy. And so when you have energy, now what they found is that these mice had better cellular renewal, better repair, better long-term vitality. So, it does not just give you energy, but it actually is helping work through a whole cascade of events that keep you energetic. It's not just energetic when you're on it, it's upgrading the engine so that the engine will work great every time you get in your car, if you put the right fuel into it. And so MOTS-c, it's not borrowing energy from one place like these stimulants does. The difference is between like having a turbocharger and nitrous oxide. The turbocharger improves how the engine fundamentally operates. The nitrous gives you that burst, but it depletes. So MOTS-c is your turbocharger. For dudes, I think probably made sense. Ladies, well, if you're into cars, certainly made sense. But just think of this. Every person that I've seen that comes in with fatigue, we have this energy crisis in our culture because we're always using, it's like pulling money out of your savings account. And that's what's happening when we're using stimulants. Caffeine, we drink caffeine, it blocks the adenosine receptors to prevent your brain from feeling tired. And then the adenosine receptors come back with greater force, and then you're tired, and that's why you want to use L-theanine with your coffee. But MOTS-c is totally different. It's upgrading that energy system. You're getting better glucose regulation. You're turning on the ability to burn fat again, and you're creating this energy activation that you can have for the rest of your life. So for those of you who are ready to install that upgrade in your operating system and work with a medically supervised peptide program, all you need to do is go to agelessfuture.com, book an appointment with one of my medical providers. They'll take great care of you. I'm Regan Archibald. Appreciate you joining me on the channel.